don't think it's right to label every white person a white supremacist. I don't.
I don't think that that's what she.
No, but we've been having this conversation prior.
The post that exploded.
Oh, called you a white supremacist.
Correct.
So here's an interesting thing to understand about racial politics in general. Just as much as there was a lot of political effort put into getting these institutions to be in place, there's also been a lot of direct political effort to distance from racist as a word, right? Because the immediate connotation or mental picture one gets, if not adequately educated in this country, is burning crosses. It is a trigger to be called something that is commonly known or referred to as a bad thing or a bad person. But it is a reality that we have to educate and properly explore the nuances and complexities that are in racial systems, because we cannot advance from them if we don't get everything out on the table, right? So when we talk about discomfort or being uncomfortable, we all have to get comfortable being uncomfortable, because there's a lot of stuff that we haven't faced, and a lot of us will have to be wrong before we really get right.
I just want to build on something that I think you're saying, and what I think your underlying question is about the white supremacist label. This is something that makes everybody uncomfortable. All white people are racist. All of y'all are white supremacists. All of y'all, without exception. It doesn't matter how much work that you do, because you are benefiting from a system of white supremacy, right? So I love what you were saying about, I'm an anti-racist racist, right? Because it's acknowledging that it doesn't matter if you are doing work. I mean, it matters, but it doesn't matter in terms of your ownership of racism and white supremacy. You still bear that responsibility. I think that it hurts to hear that, because you know that your heart is in wanting to dismantle it. But until it's dismantled, until there is no more white supremacy, you still own that. And I think that where we were before Trump, there's a saying, racism without racists, right? Eduardo Bonilla Silva wrote this brilliant book, I don't know if you've read it, about institutional racism, and about how white folks liberal white folks in particular, will see the structure and identify the structure, but not take ownership. Somebody owns that shit. A lot of y'all own that. All of y'all own that shit, right?
Yeah.
And so...
and benefit from it. And received generations of inheritance.
So then how do you decipher
Land.
Property.
if we're going to just walk around and just keep saying white supremacists? It's eventually going to get to a point, I feel, where it hurts the movement, because no one's going to take it seriously. It's like, she's marching through Charlottesville with a Confederate flag. This one said the wrong thing on Instagram. So everyone's now a white supremacist. So when you hear it, you're kind of like, okay.
Well, you all are.
Yeah.
All of you are. You are
might
all
not-
white
I
supremacists.
Do you think that some of it is in understanding what the actual definition
was
of
about
these
to
things
say.
are?
And
A
that comes back
racist,
to
a
that
white supremacist. I
equation.
think part of it is really like one person's operating on one definition,
Right.
somebody else is operating
So
on
let's
another
break it
one.
down.
Yeah.
Who wants to go?
We didn't always use the term white supremacy, right? We used to use the term racism. Thought leaders in my discipline specifically thought about, well, racism really only exists in one form in our society, right? Because some white supremacists started doing that reverse racism shit. Y'all remember that, right? And we had to say, no, you own this, right? This is your shit. So it's called white supremacy, right? So white supremacy is really the more precise term in the way around the way in which racism operates in society, right? And there's different brands of it. So there is the violent terrorism
Yeah, that's what
that
I would call it.
exists, and then there's also, a liberal brand that has a smiling face, but hasn't done the hard work of dismantling it. And there are the anti-racists. There are those who are comrades in struggle who still benefit from white supremacy. And that's the best you can hope to be right now. That's it. You don't, yeah,
Right?
I mean, but like there's other, like I hate when we compare like oppressions, but sometimes we have to. Like, I was raised in the hood. I don't live there no more. I got a PhD and I have a middle class job, right? I don't believe in capitalism. I think capitalism is well, I'm not even going to say what I believe in. I'm going to just say I have to own the fact that I, to a degree, benefit from capitalism, even though I don't believe in it. Does that make sense to you?
No, it makes sense.
Okay.
So like my favorite is when people are like, "Oh, you're being racist," and I'm like, "I can't. I'm black." And they're like, "What do you mean?" I could be prejudiced.
That's right.
I could have a
Discriminate.
prejudice and have a preconceived notion, but I don't own the systems or the institutions to actually systematically hold you back. I might have a certain level of clout I've worked to, but at the end of the day, whose word are they going to shoot? Who's going to bound behind them with like actual substantial institutional support? I could get the hood as much as I want to. It's not the same. And I think that the only way to true solidarity or allyship is through understanding through that lens. That is what true empathy is, as opposed to absorbing it as if people are trying to offend or discount or, you know, belittle any of your intention or your attempts at doing good work. It's just the reality is that like doing change work is self-sacrifice. And there's a difference between, to your point earlier, of self-care and self-preservation. At a certain time, you think you're tired, we're exhausted. There are times where like, I don't have it in me to break it down to this level. I'll never be able to truly walk in your shoes, but I can seek to understand you. And you can do the same. And I think that that is where that work begins.
As I was growing up in Los Angeles and went to Brentwood School, I know a lot about white people, but white people don't know a lot about me.
That's right.
Right.
And that's America, right? This is America, right? And so what I think would be really beneficial for you, because your platform is very powerful, and I don't want you to stop doing what you're doing. I support you in that. But I think maybe expanding your knowledge on other communities would be highly beneficial to you. Maybe reading the books that Melina's suggesting. Take the time, maybe that can be your self-care time, so you can really explore the nuances of this culture, the culture that you're fighting for. And then you'll have a different reaction when people are coming for you. Then you wouldn't feel the need to be defensive because you're confident in who you are and what you know.
Liz Gilbert, I think, actually posted something from a friend. Was basically like, I don't have the words, but my friend does, who I think might have been a person of color. But right there, she's just lending her platform. Right. She's like, I'm Liz Gilbert. I eat, pray, and love. For Liz to give over her platform. And then I went to some of the other white women, and it's like, oh, they're all doing it. It's okay sometimes to be like, I don't know. Yeah. Whether you do that privately to your allies, or whether you do that publicly to on your platform and say, you guys, I don't know. I'm gonna take a beat. I'll be back.
Most of the work that's hardest is to do self-work, and people don't do it. And that's why the world doesn't change, right?
She's a women's counselor.
She's
She's like, yes!
No, but like I say that every day at work is like people will jump into the fight or jump into the revolution and all you're gonna do is infect what you're creating, right? Yes. Like people don't take that time to heal. So I'm sure your work, right? To actually examine themselves, their part in it. So like through this process, do you feel yourself expanding in that way, or is it still a desire? And you can answer completely honestly. There's no right or wrong. Is it still that natural societal tendency to want to be right about something as opposed to expanded by something?
I haven't really like finished processing everything that's happened. You know what I mean? So I can't answer that fairly. I'm still kind of like a little bit in shock of like everything that's transpired. But like once I can like digest it all and like break it down for myself, I'm definitely going to like explore it.
And that's an ongoing process.
Yeah, of course. But I'm still kind of like, I'm still very baffled.
Well, if there's anything to take away from it, I think like I learn new stuff every day.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Totally. And I agree. Like I think we all learn every day. Like I always like learning about anything. So of course I'm open to learning more. I don't think I'm an expert in this space at all. I mean, not even close. But I know where my heart and my soul is. So to be told like you're not is kind of like, it's shitty. Doesn't matter, you know, if it's about whatever. Like I've been called an awful mom on Instagram. Like that sets me off too. Like I know I'm a great mom, but who the fuck are you to come on my platform? I'm not saying you. Right. And it's like criticize my mother. Like I feel bad for your children. Like feel bad for your fucking self, dude. Like, fuck are you? Like, clearly your mom didn't raise you well. Like, if that's how you go on people's social media platforms, I would whack my kid across the face if they said it to somebody on Instagram.
Allison, not everybody deserves a response.
That part.
Amen.
You are right. My husband and I fight about that all the time. It's a huge fight.
So are you listening to your husband?
They might be Russian.
Do you listen to your husband?
I got rid of mine. So.
That's right.
Yeah, with Khadijah's support.
I mean, but thanks for listening. Probably not. It's a huge issue. You want the love?
Well, no.
Take the heart. Take the heart.
But I asked that just because, to Khadijah's point, like one of the things I've learned as I work on myself is that the people closest to me, I know they love me.
Right.
So if they are saying something to me over and over, and it sounds like your husband's like, pause. Could you pause? Could you just pause? Pause. There's something there. It's not that you have to do exactly what he says when he's telling you to do it.
Of course.
But this man knows you, loves you, shares a bed, has made human beings with you.
Right.
He's telling you to pause.
It's been an ongoing conversation for years in our house about responding to trolls. He's like, I don't understand.
It gets you nothing.
What is wrong with you?
Do you see that it gets you nothing?
My daughters watch my Instagram page. I know I have a lot of like young girls that watch my page, and a lot of women have said, I found my voice because of you. Like, shit, it's like when it works, it works. You know, people want to use it when it works in their favor and fits their narrative. Like, great. Like, nobody should turn a blind eye. But now I should turn a blind eye on hate. Like, so, and I think hate in any form is wrong. I am not okay with any form of hate. Right. So I am not okay with somebody coming into my space to tell me I'm fat, ugly, they feel badly for my kids, I'm a fucking awful human.
So you respond to all that shit?
Not all, but a lot.
But what Allison, part of that is, okay, it's one thing to have a voice, and it's another thing to have discernment. Like, to discern, like, is this a conversation that needs to happen or not?
Can I just say something strategically?
Of course.
These fools, you click on their thing. They got 35 followers. So you just gave them your damn platform. You gave them your platform. So just
Give them your power.
don't give them your fucking platform. Now they going, who the hell is this person?
FYI.
And they causing you to fight with your husband.
Wait, you want to hear the funniest thing though? My husband, like when this is all going down, was like, stop responding. Like, I'm going to take your motherfucking phone and throw it in the motherfucking pool. Like,
Look,
I am
how
not
about
playing.
don't respond to anybody who has less than half of the followers that you
Wait,
do.
you better cry?
That's a good
Wait, you're going to crack up. Wait, so literally we are having this huge battle. And now, of course, I'm screaming at him. I'm like, don't tell me what to do. Da, da, da. And he's like, I'm not kidding. I'm going to take your phone. I'm going to bash it. I'm going to stop responding. So I'm like, fine, I'll stop responding. All of a sudden, 20 minutes later, he comes upstairs because like I was like upstairs, like doing something at the kitchen table. And he's like, you responded. I'm like, what? He's like, 20 minutes ago, you had a response. Ooh. And I was like, what, are you monitoring me? He's like, yes, you're like a child and I'm monitoring you right now. And I was like, he's like, what is, wait, and he literally clicked on the person's page. He goes, this is who you responded to. And like, literally, she's like, I'm like, it was just like hilarious.
Who was it? How many people?
She had like 48 followers. She was like,
The real conversation has just begun.